Welcome back to Knit Together with Kim and Jonna. I'm Kim.
And I'm Jonna.
And we are outside our favorite local yarn shop.
Pick up every stitch. I'm not sure why our arms are around each other. That's new for us. But
I know, what is that?
I don't know.
Anyway, and we were posing for a picture right
This is
before
either going to be a total blooper reel or it's going to be fun. I mean, it's going to be fun either way.
So this is going to be a completely different format for us. We're not going to be sitting at all. And we're going to go in and get that long-awaited shop tour.
Yay.
Let's go. Okay, let's go. So we're going to start the video with the shop tour, the long-awaited shop tour. And this is Felicia, by the way.
Hi.
And this is Karen.
Hi, everybody.
And, of course, us. And tell us how the shop is laid out.
Okay, so the shop is laid out by weight. So when you're coming in and you need a specific weight for your pattern, we know exactly where to guide you. And if you want our help, we will help you. If you want to be left alone, we leave you alone, but you're free to explore.
I always
The
want
whole
help.
store. So
Everybody's different. Some
Yeah.
people immediately say, yes, yes, please. And some people just want to browse. And then we say, just touch it all because you don't know until you actually feel it.
Exactly. So when you come into the store, on the left, we have some lace in the little cabinet, and then from there we go into DK. Since DK is the most popular yarn with patterns, and that's the most extensive selection of inventory that we have. Then we have novelties on the table, accessories on the table. The table's always changing with items of the moment. Then we've got Pearl.
Yeah, I just tripped over Pearl.
We've got some kits and some novelty yarns here. The center cabinet has sport weight on one side of it, the side that's facing the DK. Then we've got another extensive selection of mohair because it is my favorite yarn, as we all know. Put it into everything, it makes everything better. Then on the other side of the cabinet, if you come around this way, well, before I get there, this is our baby section. We've got samples of little garments and accessories and toys, exactly, and books and several different yarns that we use most times for baby blankets and little sweaters and things. Karen's patterns start there. And what else, Karen? What am I missing? Anything?
No.
Probably.
No.
Little dolls and all
accessories and things.
beginners kits. And then from there, we go into the worsted world. And this whole wall is all worsted. And there's all different kind of textures in worsted. Wools and cottons and mohairs, the blown silk, merino, and what else can I tell you about worsted world? It is what it is. It's fabulous.
I love how you call it worsted world.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah. And then we've got the island of mohair because that's not enough. We've got our ombre mohairs and some beautiful colors from various companies like Art Yarns and Julie Asselin and Shibui. And then from there we go into fingering on this side as well. So this goes into the fingering section. We started off in the cabinet here anywhere from Sunday for Sandnes Garn that Petite Knits uses to the Julie Asselin, her melange, which is like a beautiful squishy, and we've got some new Cabrito with Alegria from Manos, Isayers, Highland Wool, and Alpaca. Then from there, that whole wall is all fingering also, and some novelty laces to enhance. So for those people that don't want to use mohair, you could use silks. Whether it's a shiny silk or a matte silk or raw silk, we've got them covered. There's cotton, tweedy cotton in the wall for the season. Then from there, we go into sock yarns. in the cubbies here. So there again, we've got solids and multis and a little bit of everything for sock. We've got, well, we could talk about the specific yarns a little bit later if you'd like, but something like this comes to us from New Zealand that we've imported, the Ombre Pop colors. So they're assigned pooling yarns that we've done really well with those. Karen wrote a pattern for it that a lot of people have used, and it's been really successful for us,
And we did
right?
float shawl in it, which
Float
everybody
shawl.
loved.
Exactly.
Which shawl?
The
Float
float
shawl.
shawl.
Float.
Mhm.
Float shawl.
Yeah, it's on the front, on the mannequin, that little stand there on the shoulder of the striped sweater. Then we've got a nice selection of our winter samples are here. We had to break them up because we've got so many samples. So we've got a little bit of everything, of collection from the past 5 years.
All
So,
our
all-
favorite,
all
the
of our
favorite hits. The ones that kind of went out of style are at home in our
My
closets.
first
But
sweater is there.
Yeah, your multicolor one, right?
This was the first. This is
Yeah.
not my sweater, but I came in one of the first times in the store and saw this, and then I had to knit it. That was the first sweater I
Yeah.
ever
That was
made
the
for
first
myself.
pattern written for us.
yeah, we had that written for the store.
Yeah, Marion Benedetto wrote that pattern for
A
us.
priori knits.
Yeah.
It's in
Yeah.
what's the yarn again?
It's
Opus.
Opus.
Mhm.
And
So
then you went
beautiful.
on to use Opus for
I
all
love it.
your
I made
sweaters.
exactly this sweater.
Yep.
Yep.
I have somebody else working on it right now, one of my
So
students
beautiful.
in class. It's really great.
Yeah. Really good. Then we go over to the other side of the register. Well, up front we've got more samples. The cashmere samples are up front, along with one of each color of the Clinton Hill cashmere, because we keep the stock in the back. So this way you see the whole selection here. We've got some of her samples. We've got our novelty bags. That's her newest
brand new
cardigan.
Beautiful cardigan.
Brand new pattern.
just
We
oh,
just got that
really?
sample this morning. Yeah.
You know me, I love samples.
Yeah, she released that about a week, 2 weeks ago, maybe,
Gorgeous.
something like that. Yeah, really simple sweater. You can make it.
She came here and released it here
Yeah,
with
she
us.
did.
Yeah.
She did. Yeah. So it's one of those very versatile kind of cardigans, and it's got no buttonholes, so it's real easy for a beginner knitter also.
Beautiful.
Which I highly recommend beginner knitters use cashmere because it entices you to knit.
Yeah.
It does. Then we got. Go ahead. The button,
Yeah.
our button world there, and
Yeah.
the bags,
We have all
novelty bags that are like handbags that we could use as project bags. Some shawls that are already made, so those are nice, easy gifts. So it's not just a yarn store; you can pick up gifts here also.
Accessories and
Right.
jewelry.
All kinds of notions, any, knitting needles and interchangeables and tips and any kind of tools and accessories, we've got them. There's your train case there in the green.
Green and orange love.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's it. Then this is where we have our Aran weight and bulky weight and super bulky. Yeah, that's it. Anywhere from like a size 10 to 17, 19 needle. That we keep all together back here, which is usually busy at holiday time in this area. Super bulkies are in the back as well from various companies like Gallery Yarns and Manos and Malabrigo. And then that's our rack of summer sweaters. All of our, those are the newest ones that we have.
Yeah, those are all the ones that aren't on mannequins in the store.
Yeah.
For summer weight.
This is
Some are new.
Yeah.
Some
the
nothing
yield that I
here.
knitted. That's
Yeah.
so beautiful.
Yeah. This one's been probably one of the most popular through the years, I have to say. The forest weave.
Kate
Yeah.
is wearing her forest weave today.
She
Was
talked about it
she?
today in the
Yeah,
video.
she did it without the sleeves, and it looks so good on her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is Karen's love note.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
With one less row of lace work.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah. One less rose.
And
that
what
I can
yarn is
wear it in
this?
public.
It's so beautiful. It's
That is the
wild
Wild Atlantic.
Atlantic.
Yeah.
It's so
It's
beautiful.
a silk blend and wild Atlantic in a fingering weight, and I held it with one strand of the mohair from Julie Esland. So
And did you alternate skeins?
I did not.
And so do you think that the mohair helps with any kind of cooling?
Absolutely.
So that's a good strategy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
the
mohair
mohair
to it.
too.
Yeah, I love that. I've worn that
I
so
want
many
one.
times.
Yeah.
It's such a great sweater.
I haven't wanted one before because I always felt like the lace was too low.
Which is why I resisted first, but then when I just did it with one less row, it's like it hits me right here, so it's perfect. Yeah, it's good. It's good.
And pom poms.
And pom-poms.
We've got
Lots
all
of
the
pom-poms. Yes.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. We've got the vegan pom-poms and the real
Yeah.
fur pom-poms.
got great pom poms for our hats.
Yeah. And we're putting them on slippers too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just had some slippers made and they got put on the slippers.
Isn't that cute?
That
Is that fun?
That is the easiest slipper on the planet. It's all done flat in a rectangle, and you take the front and you gather it together just like the top of a hat, and then sew it up across the bottom and the top here. We put a little pom pom on it.
So cute.
Isn't that cute?
We just have to make the other one now.
Yeah. That is
Yeah.
so cute.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And these are the tables where your classes and
These
your knitting help
Yeah.
take place.
One of the things I really wanted when we moved into the bigger space here was more classroom space. Especially with COVID, we wanted to make it more, accessible to people and to, social distance. And so this is my big classroom. I'm so excited.
It's beautiful. And we're not going to show you, can't really see, but it's a whole wall of windows. So this bright, beautiful, natural light in here, which helps so much with seeing yarn color.
Yeah.
It's not just fluorescent light. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. I love
Yeah.
it. Great. So, Jonna, you have a few questions.
Okay, so I'm curious. I kind of know what you did before
Yeah.
this, but
Yeah.
I don't know what you did before this. So, tell us.
So before this, I was a commercial loan officer
Ah.
at a bank.
This sounds like much more fun. Good choice.
Then I moved into collections when things got kind of bad in the economy. I didn't do that for very long because it was a terrible job.
That's painful.
And then I stayed home with my kids for a while, and I did a lot of custom curtains for people. I had a business out of my home, and I made curtains and things like that. And then I started tatting, and then I started knitting, and here I am today. So.
Because you're a seamstress as well, right?
I'm a seamstress as well. While I was working for the bank, I went to Parsons at night and got a degree in design in ready-to-wear. So, and actually, not in flatware. Yeah. So when I write my patterns, I come at it at a fitting perspective from when I used to draft patterns for sewing for ready-to-wear. Yeah, that's great. So I've done a few things in my career.
You're the resident designer of Pick Up Every Stitch. And teacher.
And
Do you mess
teacher.
with the teaching?
I'm the technical side. It's just all the color, all the designs, all the pretty beautiful things.
I always say to people, if you need creative help, I can help you. If you need technical help, go to Karen.
It's nice to have that good division
Yeah.
of labor, though.
Yeah.
And so, what
Yeah.
did you do before this?
I was in the garment center in the city. I was on 7th Avenue for a while, from my 20s into my 40s. So I worked for different companies at first. And then in 1990, I opened my own multi-line showroom. So I represented young designers. There was a classification that was below the high-end designers and above contemporary. It was a fine line there, and I catered to specialty stores. And they were people that I had worked with in my other companies and stuff. So I did that for like 10 years. So what that does is bring my perspective of what sells, what doesn't sell, what customers really buy and what they really wear to this, plus my eye for color is all, from my background. So when when people come to us and they say, oh, but you're a sweater store, I'm like, yeah, we are a sweater store because that's my background. So we approach it that way more than anything else,
And
right?
how did you two meet?
She came in with a mutual friend of ours, Liz,
Oh.
who I had worked with at Katoni Yarn for a while, and she had the bracelet.
Well, Felicia's got a memory.
The first time I came into the store, she asked my name, and the next time I came in, she called me by my name, which was shocking because I have sort of an unusual name.
Well,
We're blown away.
The same thing. I walked into Felicia's store to say hi and introduce myself, and she goes, "Aren't you Liz's friend?" And I hadn't seen you for like 15 years since I lived. I had moved to England and moved back, and once in a while when I was back for a weekend, I would pop into the other store where you worked, and I would shop, and like that's the only time I ever met you. And she said, "Aren't you Liz's friend?" I'm like, "Oh my god, yeah."
That's amazing.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah. I know. I'm like, what's your name?
I'm
Yeah,
finally
so
old
she was
enough.
doing these bracelets, and I always struck up conversation. And I was like, "Oh, you want to teach tatting at the store?" And she did, luckily, and she had a full class. And then from that, it's like, "Oh, I can use help at the store. Do you want to work a day or two at the store?" She's like, "Yeah, sure."
And a day turned into 2, and turned into 3, and turned
Turned into being a partner.
And then,
being
yeah,
a
thank you, COVID. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So we got to remember to get a really good picture of the tatted bracelets because they're absolutely gorgeous.
They
We've
are.
never really gotten a really good picture of them.
They
So you
are.
teach the tatting, but you also make bracelets to sell here.
I do. I don't have a whole lot
Custom.
of pieces, so
Custom.
now I'm just making them custom instead of on spec
Wow.
because I
Yeah.
just can't produce as many as people want.
But you
Just
don't have
have
like an
one.
Etsy shop. You just sell
No.
them here.
No, I just sell
Yeah,
them here because I just can't produce that many.
They're beautiful. It's lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And for why yarn?
Why yarn?
Yeah, why did you open a yarn store?
Because I knit, and there wasn't anything around anymore. Like the Tony Yarn had
So I
closed,
used to go there.
and I helped them out for a while. And ever since they closed, I just looked around. Anytime I saw an empty space, like what triggered in my mind was like, "Oh, would that be a great yarn store?" Like, "Oh, is there parking in there?" And like it was always like, "Oh, I wonder what the rent is like there." So this went on for I don't know, almost 10 years or so.
It's gotta be, it was yours.
It was a long time. And then, because I always knew that there's a community here for knitting. And being a knitter, I didn't want to go into the city all the time because 90% of the time when I did go down, I felt obligated to buy something because I made the trip, not because I was actually enticed to buy something. So I felt like we needed it in the community here. So, selfishly, really,
So how do you keep your jobby and your hobby separate?
we don't.
You don't. So you love knitting so much that it never feels like work.
It never feels like work.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So basically, the
Yeah.
samples in the store that you see are garments that we want to wear.
Okay.
So we basically either knit something that
We want.
to have, and it ends up living at the store. So basically, we get dressed when we get to work in the morning. So I'm like, okay, I'll wear that one today.
Okay.
But also, we choose our patterns based on like what we think our customers would either like to wear, would look good on them, or it's easy enough for most of the people to knit, right? Because there's such a wide variety of knitting abilities.
Yeah.
And then we still get beginners every day, even though we've been here 5 years, and we have like some super advanced, amazing knitters that come in. So
Well, look at you. I mean, when I
Yeah.
first met you, you were like, "I'm just starting."
Yeah.
And like in no time, you were making sweaters. I'm like, "No way!"
I made,
No
my,
way!
I made my first socks here. I did my first color work here.
we took lessons, and we
Yeah.
did it.
I was like, what are these extra stitches on my sock on the short wrist? What if there's extra stitches?
I'm like, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. It's going to be fine.
I know, you reminded me a lot of me because whenever I wanted to learn something, I would just look it up, and you always did the same thing. Like, I want to know this. John would open a book, read a chapter. Okay, I can do this.
I'm a researcher.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
you are a
that's how I am too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, even when you ask me to work here, it's like, you know anybody who can knit? I'm like, I can help you maybe.
Maybe. She's one of, that's excellent knitter.
So who knits the store samples?
We
do.
both do, and we have one lady that's down in Hartsdale, and she helps us out every once in a while. She'll
knit a sample.
knit a sample
And
for us.
some
and
of the
things.
samples
Yeah.
belong to the manufacturers. So
Yeah,
some of the
some of them,
samples
yeah,
belong
some
to
of them kind
Myac
of,
or
yeah.
belong to Glitten Hill, and they're
Yeah.
on like borrowed
Yeah,
for us, or sometimes the samples will travel as a set, and so they go from store to store. So we'll only have them for a short window.
Yeah, I've been here when Becky, right?
Yeah.
From Clinton Hill is
Yeah.
coming with her kids. They're so
Yeah.
cute
Yeah.
to grab her samples to go do a show. It's
Yeah.
really fun.
Right.
Yeah.
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 It's fun
Yeah.
to see them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but most of them it's
ours.
us.
They're
Yeah.
ours,
We'll,
yeah.
We'll crank out 3 or 4 sweaters a month.
Oh my
It's a
goodness.
lot.
We try to
We try
anyway.
to.
Wow.
Doesn't always happen. Going, I only got this
But we
much
cast
time.
on that many.
Yeah, we do. We cast on multiples. Yeah.
So neither of you are monogamous knitters. then?
No.
No.
Okay.
I used to be.
Okay.
I used to be.
When I get
But
to
you almost
about
can't be.
I
Yeah, you
can't.
can't.
Yeah, you
when
can't.
I get to
Yeah.
about 7 or 8, I get the heebie-jeebies. I have to like cut it
Yeah.
down because I just
Yeah.
get too stressed out. But
Yeah.
I'm good at around 4 or 5 at a time.
Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is
comfortable.
a really unique store. So, what do you think
Thank
makes
you.
your store unique?
Probably the assortment of yarn that we have. That's an international assortment. We try to work with smaller independent companies that are very cautious of how their yarn is produced. A lot of the companies that we work with that are from Europe are sustainable yarns. Even just the fact that we look at everything with the eye of our customer, not so much what we want to be doing ourselves, although a lot of it is.
Yeah, but we'll
But we
see a
do-
color and say
Yeah.
like, okay, well maybe we don't necessarily want to work with that color, but we say, oh my God, so and so would love that color,
Yeah.
or so and so would love this color. And
Oh, that's so neat
and
that you
so-
have individual customers.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so we really try
Yeah.
to get to know our customers well enough,
Yeah.
so we buy for specific people sometimes. You know, without just on spec, thinking, okay, so Amy's gonna love this yarn. We have to get this.
Yeah.
And Amy walks in and says, "Oh my gosh, I love that so much!" And we're like, "Perfect."
We're like, we thought so.
So sometimes when people walk in, you know exactly what they want.
We do.
And then other times,
sometimes,
Sometimes people
Sometimes.
it just takes other
Yeah.
people have to mull it over and you know sit with it for a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah.
How far in advance of a season do you buy yarn?
1 or
A
2.
few months, not a lot. Not a
Oh,
lot.
wow.
I
So
mean,
not
you
like
know,
fashion where you
it's not. No,
you're
it's
looking at
not
it
like
ahead of
6
time.
months ahead of time or anything like that. No.
First of all, there's
yeah.
no place to store it.
Yeah. 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 And a lot of times you have to the trend changes so quickly that a lot of times we say to companies, what I need now is not what I'm going to need in 2 weeks, so you got to get it to us now,
Oh, wow.
kind of a thing, because it changes. It changes so quickly. Like all of a sudden, like everybody will be wanting to do like ranunculus.
Right.
All of a sudden this
All of a
summer,
sudden.
it's like, wait a minute.
Right.
There's a resurgence of ranunculus.
know.
We need more fingering,
That's
kind of a
amazing.
thing.
Right.
It just happens. It's that kind of a thing. And then it'll die down and something else will take its place and a new pattern will come out and everybody wants to do that pattern. It's like, do we have enough
Right.
yarn for that? Do we have the color that was done in? Because 90% of the time it's what sells really.
So what if a customer comes in and says, I want to make this new pattern, but you don't carry the yarn? So what goes into, some of our viewers have asked, what goes into making a yarn substitution? Like, what are the things that you
so
as
many
expert
things. So many things.
know, that maybe,
Well,
we
the
have-
gauge is always like the first thing that we look at.
Okay,
That's
so the weight of the
first,
yarn.
right?
Yep.
And then the
How-
fiber
the fiber
content of the original yarn, because does it need to be drapey? Does it not need to be drapey? Does it need to be lofty? So you have to take all those elements into consideration, right?
Yeah, definitely the drape and the fit is going to be very dependent on the type of yarn that you use. So we always, I don't know, 6
We
or
do
7 items.
We do it all day long.
all day long,
Yeah.
What size
Pretty
needle are they using? What color yarn do you want? What drape does the original pattern has?
Mhm.
What changes might you want to make to the original pattern? Because that
Mhm.
might affect what
Right, I
yarn
don't
we
want
wanna use.
mohair, or I
Right.
do want mohair.
Right, exactly.
Right,
This pattern has
right.
mohair, but I don't want mohair. And we say, what?
How
could that be?
How could that be?
Exactly.
I have a
Exactly.
question. What if the buyer, the knitter, insists on buying a yarn that you know is going to be a disaster? I mean, is it really hard to steer people away, or?
Kind of. You
It's
have.
hard
It's
to.
walking a fine line because you don't want to say no. You can't have that. I mean, the customer
course.
wants what they want.
But-
But
I will
no,
be honest
We'll go.
yeah.
I don't know about that, but if you want it,
Right. I will tell people my honest opinion that,
Mhm.
look, I think it's going to drape too much, or I think it's going to be too stiff. But I will always tell them, if you really want to try this, take a skein and swatch a big, nice swatch, for at least 4x4, but 8x8 is better, and see how it feels before you make this big investment in something that I don't think is going to work.
Right.
Prove me wrong. Make a
Right.
swatch and see if you like it.
Right.
That's the best advice I can give somebody is to just, buy a skein.
Yeah.
Try it out.
So what is your, I don't know, most memorable or funniest pick of every stitch moment? Besides the one that occurred right before we started. Most of the really embarrassing ones involve me, so I gave them a warning.
They do actually.
Yeah.
The most memorable. I thought about this. The most memorable, and I'm going to get teary-eyed now. Oh God!
Tell
When
it.
we were, when we were going into lockdown, nobody knew what was going to happen.
Right.
Right? People came in saying, "Are you going to be okay? Are
We
your
didn't
doors
know.
going to open again?" I don't know. I said, I don't know. Customers came. They bought gift cards. They prepaid for lessons. They paid for classes ahead of time, not knowing if there would ever be another class or if my doors were going to be open.
We have the most
So
supportive
it
customers.
was
You really do.
unbelievable. It was unbelievable. Yeah, I couldn't believe. I was still well up. How many years later? But it was was just so wonderful. Like, how do you top that? You know?
My favorite thing about the store is that the community that we've built here together.
Yeah.
People, like you said, people walk on the door, and we really try to remember their names. And if we can remember your name, and Felicia always can, me, it's iffy. But I'll get it after 2 or 3 times.
That's not true. Sometimes I'm going, no.
But you might remember what they made or
Right.
what you got yarn
Yes.
for.
But
Yes.
we greet
Yes.
you every time you walk in the door, and we
Yeah.
want you to feel happy here, and we want this to be a home away from home. We want you to come and sit and knit with us and be part of our community. And what brings me to tears is when people come up and thank us for that, because they'll come up and say, look, I've been through a very difficult time, and just knowing you were here meant so much to me.
Yeah,
Or, I've been to other places and I've never, haven't been treated the way I'm treated at your store, and that just brings me to tears every time, because, we want this to be a home for people, special,
It's a home for
place
us.
that- I know we live here. So this is like our home. When you come here, we're inviting you into our home, and we want you to
Exactly.
feel comfortable.
Exactly.
And welcome. And if you don't, let us know.
Yeah.
Because we'll just knock each other.
You're so sweet.
So
do you have
we get grumpy too sometimes.
right in this moment, right now on this day, what is it, a Wednesday? Do you have a favorite yarn? Like a yarn darling in this moment?
We thought about that a lot, and it's like you asking us to choose which
A
one of
favorite
our
child.
children
Yes,
is our favorite.
exactly.
Like there's so many
Exactly.
yarns on our list that we want to use, and which one we get
Somebody we
to
haven't
first
gotten
is
to yet.
yeah. But which one we get to first mostly depends on the pattern that we choose, and that really dictates a lot of it. But man, there's a lot of them that they're all so
I
they're
haven't
so
gotten
soft.
to
How
that.
can you choose? It's so hard.
I feel like there's certain yarns that just call my name, that are still calling my name from around the corner.
Yeah,
yarn
and
that
for
are-
us too.
Yeah.
For us too. There's so many yarns that we haven't gotten to use yet, just
Right.
because something's come up and go, oh, you need to make that for the store, or I want to make that one, and blah blah blah, and it calls for that. So many patterns, so many yarns
Yeah.
still.
So we
Yeah.
really try to use them all, and sometimes we fight over who's going to use it to make a sample.
Right? It's like, okay, we're both gonna do it.
And like,
You
okay,
do
we
that color
can't
and I'll
do
do
the
that
same
color.
sweater. We don't have time
Different
for that.
colors. Yeah.
I mean, I
could do
just
that.
love your friendship, and you made her a doll. I was like,
Yeah.
what? And sometimes, you'll share a sweater
Oh yeah.
because you both love it, so
Oh
we
yeah.
share it.
We
and
do.
it's just-
We call it the communal
It's
pieces.
so
I
touching.
mean, we make the same size, so why make two?
I know.
Can I
exactly.
share your oversized sweaters?
Sure.
Your pink cardigan?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's funny. We started it after we started working together more than a couple days a week, finishing each other's sweaters. It's a little weird.
That's funny. Do you have a favorite budget-friendly yarn? It's still in the favorite yarn category, but is there one budget-friendly that you love?
Probably the Sandnes Garn
KBN.
And the
too.
KBN from John
Oh,
Arbin. Those
yep.
are probably
KBN is knit by numbers. You can't
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
just
it's-
a great workforce
Oh,
yarn that
yeah.
comes in
Yeah.
every color. It's got great stitch
And
definition.
it's beautiful
And it's-
quality. You're not
yeah, that's
sacrificing
what I mean.
anything.
No,
So-
well,
That's one of
that's
those
it.
yarns that
Yeah.
I would knit every project in that yarn that
yeah.
called for it, but I want to try other yarns. But
Right.
if I only had that yarn, I would be in heaven. Yarn heaven.
We don't have any
Yeah.
yarns that, one wearing and they're going to be done. Like every yarn we have is really nice yarn. Even our budget friendly
Right.
yarns are 100% wool and
Right.
just good yarn,
quality.
good quality yarn.
Yeah.
We've really gone
Well,
out of our way
that's-
to find something for everybody in the
Yeah,
store.
all different budgets, but good quality.
So did you guys make, really the big change for us as customers over the course of the pandemic was you went from next door, which was a smaller space, to this beautiful, much larger space. It used to be a hair salon.
Hair salon.
Yeah.
Exactly. We gutted it and redid the whole thing.
And then
Yeah.
you became a distributor for Mayak.
Yeah,
And
we
so you
ship.
needed some
We
storage
do.
space. But what
Yeah.
were the big changes for you as far as the pandemic went?
During the
Um,
pandemic, we did a lot of FaceTime with people over the phone and picked out yarn. We spent a lot of time with each customer on our phones, picking out stuff, shipping it out, working, 6 feet apart on each side of the little store. We, would work together, but nobody knew what was happening yet, or no vaccines. And so,
Running back and forth to cars to do
Yep.
curbside and go, do you
Curbside
want this
pickup
color?
and
Is this the
delivery.
color you like? Would you like that one? No? Okay, a little bit more blue? Okay, let's go
We
get
got
that one.
We got a lot of steps
a lot of
in.
that. Yeah, we did. So that,
Yeah,
that
we-
was a lot.
But we worked through it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, and then moving into this space, really, because in the old space, you couldn't have classes at this point with the pandemic and all, and everybody being so cautious, you really needed to spread out. So the choice was either close the doors completely or move to bigger space
Okay.
so that we could spread out. So it wasn't.
So it was really
That
the
was-
impetus.
yeah,
to
A
make us
blessing
move.
in disguise.
It was
Yeah.
a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, and we were
absolutely.
worried. We're
Yeah.
like, can we support a bigger space?
Yeah.
But we're making it work.
But you do have the best customers.
We
do.
We have great customers.
Very
We
prolific
do.
knitters.
We
You
do.
should definitely follow them on Instagram because they're
do.
beautiful, beautiful projects.
Yeah, we do.
So, what is the most surprising thing you've learned about owning a yarn shop?
the amount of work.
I knew you were going to say
If
that.
you want to own
so
a yarn
bad.
shop because you like to knit, forget it.
Right.
You'll never get to knit anything for yourself. I mean,
Right.
we knit when we wake up in the morning.
You're
We
always
come
working.
to work.
Yeah.
Nobody knits here. Who works here? And then we go home and have dinner, and we sit down and we knit again. So it's you just never stop.
It's that. Yeah, it's a lot of work.
So
Yeah,
it's
on
not
the
deadline
computer.
knitting where you're like,
No,
oh, I have to finish this by
it's not that
tomorrow.
kind of pressure or anything like that. It's just, a lot of day to day, like, ordering shopping bags and ordering yarn and special orders
Right.
and, a lot of that. And then finding new vendors, doing all that research and things like that too, and following up on patterns and buying the patterns and being up on everything. So, should we do a knit along? Should we not do a
Right.
planning events?
Right.
A lot goes into it. It's not just
Not just-
opening a store.
Sometimes
Kind
for
of
me,
a lot of
it's
background work too.
Sometimes for me, it's deadline knitting if I'm teaching a class,
class,
and I
yeah.
have to get to a certain point for the next class if it's a class on a whole sweater. And so I said, okay, for next week, you need to finish for here. Well, I have to too.
Right.
I can't be a bad teacher and say, oh, sorry, I didn't get to it.
Yeah.
I can't at your
Yeah.
mark.
Yeah.
The dog ate my yarn.
Yeah.
You've only done that once, right, Pearl?
Yeah, thank goodness she doesn't. Some dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
got
hard.
my daughter's dog, a Chihuahua, some of those wool dryer balls.
Yeah. Oh,
The
yeah.
little ones, and
Yeah.
they had to remove them from the house because she guarded them like they were her babies. She
Oh.
was so possessive of these wool dryer balls. Yeah, so we had to get rid of them. Anyway.
So I had one recent conversation with somebody that the dog chewed her silk comb.
Right, and
Yeah,
my,
that was the
and-
first one.
And I have
Yeah.
actually 2 dogs, and each one of my dogs ate that same cone. It's like the same yarn. That same yarn. I had a cone,
funny.
and one of them, I'm like, "What are you kidding me?" And they've never touched my yarn. I was
That's
shocked.
funny.
And then the next day, the other one got a different cone. I said, "Okay, stupid me for leaving them where they can get it the second day."
Right.
But then when the customer called, I was like, "Wow, there must be something in that yarn silk because both of my
Like
dogs
cat
did
food
it
for
too."
cats.
I know.
Yeah,
Like,
Silk
Interesting.
cones for
yeah, I
dogs.
was just grateful they just chewed it and mangled it and didn't actually swallow it. I was
Right.
yeah. So
Or-
nobody got hurt.
Eat something that was already knitted.
Nobody actually swallowed it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Can you imagine that?
Well, I gave them a heads up because I thought it would be funny if they, I don't know, helped our viewers know us better. So I thought maybe you can just describe us as customers before we were podcasters, or I don't know. What do you think when you see caller ID? Oh, it's Jonna.
Well, Jonna knows what she wants before she comes into the store.
She researches
She
everything
does all
ahead
her
of time.
research, and she's like, I want to make that, and I want to use that, and I want it in that color. Do you have it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Kim walks through the door, sees something, and says, I want to make that.
Right.
Just the way it is.
Or you bring a picture
Or-
and say, I want to make this. What can I
Choose-
use?
choose
And we
the colors.
show you, and you make your decision up like that. You
Yeah.
just make your mind, and you go with it, and it's always fabulous.
Yeah.
And I can be here for like an hour. Or just let her be.
And we'll say, and you're one of the people who will say, okay, we'll take it home and mull it over and think about it because
Right.
you really want to be sure.
I do.
Right.
And but
Exactly.
that's that's
Exactly.
a lot. I do
And
that
then you
too.
And then you
Sometimes
stumble
change your
on
mind.
something.
I do.
And then she stumbles on something. I didn't know you had that. It's like, because you come in with an agenda.
Right. I need to come in with more open mind.
Yes, and
Yes.
yep,
Yes.
exactly.
And
But I do
sometimes-
it too.
But they're both good. They both work.
Yeah.
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 Exactly.
I bring home
Yeah.
stuff too, and I'll put it on my coffee table, and I'll just look at it all night and
Right.
make sure it's what I want. And
Right.
in the morning, if I'm still happy with it, then I'll crack it open and start a swatch. But sometimes you just have to let it speak to you.
And like I told Felicia, I said, sometimes a yarn and a pattern don't have a baby.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes
right.
they just
Doesn't
aren't
work.
gonna,
And
aren't
sometimes
gonna
they
work.
try to, and they end up in the
Yes.
timeout bag for a really
Yes.
long time.
Yes. And I've learned that frogging is not a bad thing.
It's not a bad
Not a
thing.
bad
It's not a bad thing.
No.
If you're not happy with it,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Just
Exactly.
stop
Yeah.
and go on to something else and then come back and you'll have another idea.
Right.
Or you'll have a solution for that.
And that's one of the
Yeah.
best things. I mean, I know that you sew too, but that's one of the best things about yarn is that you can rip it out and make something else.
Mhm.
With fabric, once you've cut it,
Once you
it's-
cut the pattern.
you need to make something.
You're making a quilt.
Yeah. Yes, you're making a quilt. You're making something, a small
Small
skirt for a
clothes.
small person. Yeah, for
exactly.
sure. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, we couldn't be more grateful to be able to host our podcast here. So,
No, we'll
Yeah.
love
and
it.
you
Well,
guys
we're
are
glad
family
you're
to
here.
us, and
Same here.
you know,
Yeah.
this was my home away from home for a long time, and you helped me kind of get over grad school and get through my dad's illnesses, and yeah, it's just been a really nurturing place to hang out. So.
And I want to say, I know we've mentioned, obviously we have film our channel videos here, but you know, it was still kind of in the middle of the pandemic, and we both live with our elderly parents, so we didn't really know how that was going to work out, like filming at home. And so I thought, maybe I'll ask Karen and Felicia, and I had no idea what you would say. So I came in, I made sure there was nobody else in the store.
In case we said,
I knew you were going to do it because I couldn't get
I
up
said,
the guy.
no question.
oh my gosh.
And
We
I
were
said,
thrilled.
we're, you know, we want to do a YouTube channel, and we were wondering if I said, think about it. You don't have to answer me now. We won't be offended at all if you say no. But, you know, how would you feel about us filming once a month in your shop? And like a second later, they're like, yeah, that would be great. It was so sweet.
Oh, well, we're happy that you guys
We're
do
so
it. I
happy
mean,
that you
it's
do it
we're
here.
happy that you've gotten so successful. I mean,
Yeah.
so quickly. We never expected
We
to
didn't either.
grow to today what it is today. But we're just so thrilled for you guys, and so happy that you've let us participate. It's been really fun.
And we love
It's
that
a
this
fun
has
ride.
become like a little tourist destination.
I know.
And
It
it is.
has. It's the funniest thing. We get people that drive down. Two ladies drove down from Rhode Island
Yep.
one day.
Yep.
Somebody
Road
was
trip.
here for a business meeting from Delaware, and she drove over. And where was the other? Somebody else came from far away. I'm like, oh my God, we're becoming like a destination.
And Pearl is anyway. The funny
Pearl.
thing is
Yeah,
that
where's Pearl?
she's not
Where's
here
Pearl?
every day, and so when they come in and they're like, "Well, where's Pearl?" I'm like, "Hi, I'm Karen. This is Felicia."
And sorry, Kim and Jonna aren't here, but
Yeah.
that's okay. Where's
Well, so
Pearl?
many times I go, do you think they'll be coming in? I'm like, do you want me to call?
Or sometimes you've been here already in the morning, and we say, "Well, you
Right.
just been."
No!
Well, and one time, you guys FaceTimed us with a customer. We were having lunch together.
Yep.
And so we FaceTimed a customer
They were so happy.
She
Wow.
was
from the
ecstatic.
store.
Was
Yeah.
that Becca?
That was Becca.
Becca Knits?
Yeah,
Becca?
yeah.
Yeah,
She
that
was
was
so happy.
Yep. She was here from a business trip. She was in Tarrytown, I think, for
Yeah,
a business
yeah.
trip or so, and she's
Okay.
from Delaware. So we said, oh, we'll call them. And you guys are having lunch. She goes, no.
No, it was fun. It was really fun.
Yeah, no, it's a bit of fun time.
You know, we read every comment on our channel on every episode, and the comments about you guys during the Cal,
Customer
I called
service.
and you did what I wanted,
that's so
and they've been
nice.
so helpful, and they're the best. So they have definitely made
you.
some, dedicated customers.
Thank you.
You don't have a website where you can shop.
We're
But
working
We're
on
working
it.
on
We're working on it.
you have personal shoppers when you call the store.
You do.
So,
Always.
Yeah, we send pictures from our cell phones
Right.
and all, and just go, oh, do you like this combo? Do you like
Just
that?
delete our
I can
numbers
see
after we're
that.
done.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
shipping's been fast, and we just
We try to get
had
it out.
excellent comments. So
You
know,
know,
like-
like
Like we said,
that's
when
nice.
you come in the door, you call. We try to treat you like family.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
We love it
it's
here.
important.
well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting us do the shop tour.
Yeah, thank you so
Well, thanks
much.
for asking us.
Yeah.
This is fun. Everybody gets to
And the
see.
viewers will be so happy.
I think so.
They always comment when we talk about it. So,
Oh, good.
so thank you so much.
Well, call us
you.
anytime.
Yeah. All right.
All right, thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Ready? I feel like my lips are all dry. Ready?
Yes.
A lot of bloopers for this one, I think.
It's all
Yeah.
good.
All right, ready?
This will be fun. As you walk in on the left side.
It'll feel awkward, but you're going to turn and face Elena and say that same thing.
Okay. Okay. So.
Your best Vanna White.
Yeah, exactly. Our DK wall on the left when you walk in. A couple of people, when I first opened next door, knew of the song and would say, "Oh, I love the name. I love the name of your store. I love the name. I love Donovan." Blah blah blah. So I was like, "Great! I'm glad it's not only me."
You're the best puppy on the planet.
Best yarn shop.